The story begins in Hong Kong, back in 1978. At that time, a man named Wang Chi gets into a heated argument with his friend after the man refuses to pay the money he lost in a mahjong bet. Overcome by rage, Wang brutally beats his friend until he's left defenseless. And in an even more horrifying act, Wang sets his friend on fire, burning him alive. Eight years later, in Macau, China, a woman and her two children are seen collecting seashells along the beach, when the kids suddenly discover a suspicious sack giving off a foul stench. Curious, the mother decides to take a closer look, and what she finds inside shocks her to the core. It's a mutilated human body, chopped into several pieces. The crime scene quickly becomes crowded with locals and police officers trying to identify the victim. Among the officers are Robert, Kong, Bull, and a female officer named Pe. All of them work under the command of their intelligent and sharp-minded Chief Inspector, Li. Somewhere else, Wang Chi now owns and manages a popular restaurant called the Eight Immortals, famous for its best-selling dish, steamed buns filled with savory meat. He also employs a young woman named Pearl, who works as both the cashier and waitress. Not long after, a man named Huang walks in after seeing a "Help Wanted" sign, hoping to apply for a job as a waiter. Since Wang happens to need extra help, he hires Huang on the spot. In the midst of the restaurant's daily rush, Wang suddenly visits a lawyer's office to process paperwork for transferring the restaurant's ownership, claiming that he bought it from the previous owner, Cheng Lam. However, the lawyer firmly refuses his request, stating that the documents cannot be processed without Cheng Lam's signature or personal presence. Later that night, after the restaurant closes, Wang joins a mahjong game with his friends while Huang quietly observes, since he now lives inside the restaurant as well. During the game, Huang notices that Wang is cheating but chooses to remain silent for the moment. However, after everyone leaves, Huang decides to mock Wang for his trickery, a mistake that deeply angers Wang. Meanwhile, at the police station, officers Kong and Pe continue working hard to identify the body found on the beach. After several tests, they finally find a match. The victim is an elderly woman named Chan Lai. Upon further investigation, it's revealed that she is the mother-in-law of the former owner of the Eight Immortals restaurant, who, along with his entire family, has mysteriously disappeared without a trace. Back at the restaurant, a letter arrives addressed to Cheng Lam, the same recipient as several previous letters that Wang has secretly thrown away without anyone's knowledge. Later, Huang casually tells Pearl that Wang had cheated during their mahjong game. Unfortunately for him, Wang overhears their conversation. That night, still holding a grudge against Huang for exposing his cheating, Wang viciously attacks him, stabbing him straight in the eye. And when Huang, barely alive, tries to crawl away, Wang brutally smashes his head until he dies a gruesome death. As if that weren't horrific enough, Wang proceeds to dismember Huang's body, cutting off the flesh piece by piece. Once the meat is separated, he grinds it finely and disposes of the bones in the trash. Horrifyingly, Wang decides to use the meat from his employee's corpse as filling for his famous steamed buns, believing it's a clever way to save money on ingredients. The next day, those same buns are proudly served to the restaurant's unsuspecting customers. The following morning at the police station, the officers receive a letter from Cheng Lam's relatives in mainland China, asking for help to investigate the disappearance of their family. Suspecting the two cases might be connected, Inspector Li immediately orders his team to conduct a full investigation at the Eight Immortals restaurant. Soon after, officers Bull, Robert, and Pe arrive at the restaurant to gather information about its previous owner. While questioning Wang, they are each served his signature steamed buns filled with meat, unaware that the filling comes from the flesh of his murdered employee. To the officers, Wong calmly spins a story, claiming he once worked for Cheng Lam. But when Cheng Lam and his family decided to retire, Wong says he bought the restaurant from them. Pearl then mentions that she often receives letters addressed to Cheng Lam, an innocent remark that, unfortunately, doesn't escape Wong's attention. Feeling they've gathered enough information, the officers head back to the station, carrying with them a box of steamed buns that Wong gives away as a friendly gift. Shockingly, everyone at the station eats them with delight, everyone except Inspector Lee, who chooses not to. Meanwhile, Pearl grows increasingly uneasy after the police visit and decides to quit her job. Wong initially agrees, but as she prepares to leave, he suddenly attacks her, beating her viciously until she's too weak to fight back. Then, in an act of sheer monstrosity, he assaults her and commits a horrifying act, stabbing her with a chopstick until she dies in agony. As with his previous victims, Wong once again turns her flesh into meat filling for his restaurant's popular buns, cheap, tasty, and disturbingly well received by customers. Back at the police station, the investigation continues. They gather testimony from local residents who report that Cheng Lam and his family vanished without warning, and when the restaurant reopened, Wong was suddenly the new owner. This strengthens Lee's suspicions, prompting him to personally reinvestigate Wong's establishment. When more officers arrive at the restaurant, Wong begins to panic, especially with 2 of his employees already missing. During a search of the upstairs rooms, Lee discovers several photos and personal belongings of Cheng Lam's family. When questioned, Wong claims that Cheng Lam left for mainland China in a hurry to visit his parents, which is why their belongings were left behind. Lee, unconvinced by Wong's explanation, quietly orders his officers to keep him under constant surveillance. Feeling the pressure closing in, Wong grows increasingly paranoid. He hurriedly drives away his customers and shuts down the restaurant. His nervous behavior only deepens the officers' suspicions, especially after Lee uncovers several key findings: that Cheng Lam's family never left Macau, that Wong is actually an illegal resident, and that he once tried to pressure a lawyer into transferring the restaurant's ownership without Cheng Lam's signature. Cornered and desperate, Wong hurriedly gathers all of Cheng Lam's belongings and throws them into a garbage truck before fleeing the restaurant. Acting on Inspector Lee's orders, Robert and Pa follow the garbage truck to the city dump, searching through piles of trash for evidence. After a long search, they finally uncover crucial proof, documents and identification belonging to Cheng Lam and his entire family. Meanwhile, Lee and the other officers track Wong down to the harbor, and just as Lee suspected, Wong is attempting to escape by boat. It doesn't take long before Lee and the harbor police corner him. Wong is captured on the spot and taken into custody. Even under arrest, Wong stubbornly denies every accusation, insisting he's innocent, despite the police already securing the identification cards of Cheng Lam and his family. Since Wong refuses to confess, Lee comes up with a bold idea: place Wong in the same prison where Cheng Lam's brother, Cheng Poon, is being held, hoping that something will make him break. But instead of finding peace, Wong's situation grows worse. As soon as he's placed in the cell, he's greeted by a group of violent inmates acting under Cheng Poon's orders. They brutally beat him without mercy until prison guards intervene, because Wong must not die before confessing to his crimes. The torture leaves him urinating blood, and even at night, the beatings continue, leaving him no chance to rest. Unable to endure the torment any longer, Wong finally attempts suicide by slashing his own wrists. But before he can bleed out, other inmates discover him, and he's rushed to the hospital where doctors manage to save his life. As time passes, Wong's true identity is revealed. His real name is Chi Leung, a fugitive from Hong Kong who fled after murdering and burning a man alive years earlier. Back in the hospital, the nurse assigned to care for Wong momentarily lets her guard down, giving Wong the chance to threaten her and take her hostage in a desperate escape attempt. But with police surrounding the area, his plan fails. Wong is soon recaptured and restrained to his hospital bed, now handcuffed and under heavy guard. Frustrated by Wong's silence, Inspector Lee grows impatient. No matter how much pressure he applies, Wong refuses to confess. So, Lee and the doctors decide to take things further, something far more cruel. They inject Wong with powerful stimulants that strip away his sleep, driving him into a state of delirium and exhaustion. But the torment doesn't end there. The nurse, who once had been taken hostage by Wong, seizes her chance for revenge. She injects water beneath his skin, causing excruciating pain that prevents him from even lying down. Days pass. Wong hasn't slept, hasn't eaten properly, and his mind begins to crumble under the endless pain. Finally, broken and hopeless, he gives in. He confesses. Wong reveals that it all began during a simple game of mahjong. He was gambling with Cheng Lam and two others. When Wong started winning, everyone decided to quit. But when Wong demanded his winnings, Cheng Lam accused him of cheating. The accusation sparks a furious argument. Wong, enraged, demands the full payment of Cheng Lam's debts, over $183,000. Tension explodes. In the heat of rage, Wong strikes Cheng Lam and ties up his children. What happens next is pure madness. Wong brutally murders Cheng Lam and his wife right in front of their children. And then, one by one, he slaughters the kids too. No mercy, no hesitation. To erase all witnesses, Wong even calls Cheng Lam's mother-in-law to the house, only to kill her as well. After the massacre, he chops the bodies into parts, bones thrown into garbage trucks, arms and legs dumped into the sea. Later, he admits this was his biggest mistake, because he should have thrown everything into the truck. When Lee asks why no human flesh was ever found on the shore, Wong answers calmly. Because the meat, he says, was used to make the restaurant's favorite dish, pork buns. The ones loved by customers, and eaten by the police themselves. With the truth finally out, Wong is placed in a high-security cell. But he never makes it to trial. Before the court date, guards find him dead. He took his own life inside his cell, believing death was better than facing judgment. So, what do you think, guys? Pretty disturbing, isn't it? I've censored some of the more graphic scenes, but if you want to witness the full story, you'll have to watch the original movie yourself. Thank you for watching until the end, and I'll see you again in the next recap.